Welcome to Nourish with Michelle Fox, your guide to living a vibrant life after 40. If you have ever struggled with consistency in your self-care or felt confused about how to truly support your body during this season of life, you are in the right place, my friend. Over this 8-part series, you'll hear inspiring, educational, and real conversations designed to help you nourish your mind, body, and soul so you can feel strong, confident, and fully alive. I am thrilled to share this 8-part series with my guest expert, Kimberly Cunningham. Kimberly is a board-certified nurse practitioner who has been serving Colorado for over 20 years. She brings a wealth of experience from emergency medicine to internal medicine to healthy aging clinics. And she's the founder of Cunningham Clinic. After recovering from a life-changing injury through hormone replacement therapy, Kimberly has dedicated her career to helping people look and feel better through functional medicine and aesthetics. She's also a published author, a faculty member at multiple universities, and a national trainer for Biote Medical and Allergan Aesthetics. Her passion shines through in every patient she serves. And before we dive in, I want to share an important note. I personally seek treatment from Kimberly at Cunningham Clinic, but nothing in these conversations is meant to diagnose or treat you. Please consult your own provider before making any medical decisions. So, let's talk about what it really takes to thrive in this chapter of life. Welcome back. I am so excited about this next episode because we get to talk to real women, as you see on your screen if you're on YouTube. And if you're listening, hold tight because I am so excited to introduce you to 3 of my friends, which I'm grateful to say, but also 3 of my friends who have taken charge of their health, and they want for you so badly, as I do, to take charge of yours if you're not there already. And maybe you are already in the journey and you just want to hear how other women are experiencing HRT and weight loss medication. But maybe you're somebody who's on the fence and it's like, well, I don't know where to begin. I don't know who to ask. I don't know what questions that I even have in my head. Today is your conversation. And so to get us going, we have Kimberly who has returned. Thank you so much for being here, Kimberly.
Thank you for having me.
If you all haven't heard previous episodes, please go back, listen to them all. We've been building on all things women over 40 and our health and our lifestyle and everything to help you feel better in your body. So Kimberly has been walking us through that in such a beautiful way. So thank you for being here for this panel conversation.
Absolutely.
And then we'll start with you, Elizabeth. Would you be willing to share your name, your age, and whether you're on HRT and or on weight loss medication?
Absolutely. I'm Elizabeth Prutch. I am 44. Thank you originally for thinking I was less than 40. I'll credit that to GLP-1. I am on it, been on almost a year now, actually, and could not be happier. But I wasn't before, so I know that's why we're here. So I'm excited to talk more with all you ladies.
So happy to have you here. And Andrea, tell us the same.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm Andrea Johnson and over 50, actually. And I can really echo with Elizabeth. I'm on HRT and weight loss medication, and it's literally been a life changer. And I mean that. So I'm so grateful, and I'm happy to share my journey. And I'm grateful that the benefits, I'm just grateful to be here.
And if anybody's looking at Andrea and says, oh, she looks familiar. Yes, she is my younger sister. So there's that. And Orion, what is your story?
Hi, everyone. My name is Orion Brown. I am on both HRT. I recently started that about 8 weeks ago, exactly. My appointment for labs was supposed to be today. And I've also been doing GLP-1 GIP agonist called tirzepatide compounded. I've done that for a few months earlier in the year, went off, went back on recently. And it's been a really interesting journey. I think there's nothing more empowering than being able to work with a physician to say, here's what I need, here's what I'm experiencing. Let's go investigate and see what's going to work best for me, as opposed to sometimes going into some places, we'll name nameless, that you go in, you talk to them, they nod, they're gone in 7 minutes, and you haven't gotten the things you need, or you've gotten a whole bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with what you've asked for. There's something really empowering about that. And I think in that realm in and of itself is, I think, can be a very life-changing moment, as well as obviously the benefits of finding what works for you.
And by the way, you are glowing, my friend. I would say this time last year, you and I were having a very different conversation. So I am celebrating the glow that I see coming across this screen. And so thank you all so much for being here. Elizabeth, I wanted to start with you just to share a little bit about the insight on what led you to trying GLP-1. I know your journey has started with an online provider, and I'm just so curious, like from the beginning to now, can you give us maybe the Cliff's Notes version? Because I know you've been through it.
I mean, I'll tell you, it starts back in middle school. I was overweight really my whole life, not severely, but enough to be noticed. I was always the tomboy friend with the really pretty girlfriends that all the boys wanted to be friends with me so they could get to the ladies. And I loved it because I didn't mind, but over time it starts to weigh on you. And so I had some tough times with my weight for sure. And it made a difference. And I then got really healthy and started running, lost a lot of weight, was fitter and happier than I'd been in a very long time. And I told myself I am never going back to the weight I was before. Enter in 2 kids later, the food noise came roaring back. And I mean, look, I almost reached 200 pounds, which is a lot bigger than I'd ever been. And numbers on the scale aside, I felt awful. Like it wasn't even the energy level, which of course I didn't have much. It wasn't even that nothing fit and I didn't like to get dressed in the morning because whatever. It was really the food noise. It was that every time I was out at events, and a lot of my work is constantly out and about and socializing and networking. My focus should have been on the human, but I was looking past them at what food was about to be available, what I could get. If somebody got that croissant before I did, I was going to be mad about it. Right. But, and once I realized it was consuming my mind and my kids are looking at me and I'm just not feeling good about myself, I started talking to people. Like this drug had come out, the GLP-1, or at least it started to be more notable, right? People were talking about it more. I was like, I can't do that. That's the easy way out. I can't do that. I'm not going to do it. A couple friends talked about it, not doing it, but talked about doing it. And Kimberly, don't throw daggers at me here, but I went about it probably the way you shouldn't go about it. But I had a girlfriend who said, I got this. I don't want to use it because I'm too scared to use it. We called her provider and said, can she hand it off to her friend? Doesn't matter. I ended up doing it the right way, but I started it. Wink, wink. That was me
Wink,
trying to
wink.
wink at you. That was me trying to wink at you. But it has truly been an absolute game changer. For the first probably 6 months, I didn't tell anybody I was on it except for my friend. I was ashamed, frankly. I didn't want that to be the reason because I have consistently worked out almost my whole life, from athletics to just very purposely trying to get on that bike or do weights or whatever it was, and it wasn't working. And then the pounds just started coming off, and people started saying, you look good. And then I started to feel good eventually also. Like I backed it up with that. I started doing the research, understanding I got to eat high protein. I got to lift heavy weights. Like I got to do this the right way. And now I'm ready to shout it from the rooftops, right? Like it is, why would I ever want to keep this from any woman in my life when it's made me feel this good? Like game changer. My relationship with my kids, my husband, my friends, my job, everything is better because of this. And I am no longer ashamed because I don't think about food. I think about the human that's in front of me, and it's a game changer. I could not be more happy.
Mm.
Are you comfortable sharing which one you're taking?
Yes, it's a Zepbound.
Okay.
And
I love it.
You broke down the generic name and the regular name in a previous episode, but can you tell us really quickly?
So there are two GLPs This is a new class of medications. There's two currently or predominantly being used in the United States, and that's semaglutide and tirzepatide. Semaglutide only has one peptide in it. It's GLP or glucagon-like peptide. Tirzepatide has two, GLP and GIP. So the first one plus gastric inhibin peptide. So the tirzepatide winds up having less side effects. You get more weight loss with a lower dose. You get better maintenance with a lower dose. It's much better tolerated. We don't see the acid reflux, the projectile vomiting, the constipation. These are not better to have. So tirzepatide winds up being a more elegant solution. And here's what's really interesting. And I'm glad you talked about the guilt. And I still am hearing this in practice. Like, I don't want to take this medication away from somebody who needs it. So we know what diabetes is. Diabetes is your pancreas isn't making insulin anymore. And then type 2 diabetes is where you've had so much sugar in your body that now those receptor sites are becoming resistant and you can't get the sugar out of your blood because the insulin's not able to pull it out of your blood. So it's a type 2 blood sugar problem. So insulin is one peptide responsible for sugar metabolism and elimination in the body. GLP and GIP are two more. There's a fourth one in your brain called ODN or octodeca neuropeptide. So we know of 4 peptides responsible for sugar metabolism. So if you can't stop the food noise, you can't feel full, you can't get out of the pre-diabetes range, and your fasting insulin is normal, we then say you don't make GLP or GIP in your stomach. So you are still deficient in peptides. It's like diabetes. It just doesn't have a name yet. So you have a metabolic problem that needs a medication, and no guilt is necessary. You wouldn't tell a type 1 diabetic to feel bad about taking their medication.
Right.
So what you have is a different kind of metabolic dysbiosis that needs the medication. You need this. And then when you fix what's missing in your body, you feel great. And you get to live in a body that works. So there should not ever, ever, ever be guilt. You would never tell a person with high blood pressure to feel guilty about taking their blood pressure medication.
Yes.
So it's not cheating. It's fixing the problem that made you sick.
I knew she was going to jump on that.
Yes.
Because I remember coming to you maybe 6 months ago, and I was feeling some kind of way, not all the way in guilt, but somewhere in that family, because here I am telling my teenage girls, body positivity, love your body. And then here mommy is taking a shot every week. And then Kimberly just broke it down as elegantly as she just did there. I'm like, you're right. Like, I don't have what it takes, the GLPs. I'll leave the science to her because
your stomach isn't
my
making
brain
it.
Doesn't work that way. But when you broke it down, I was like, yeah, like, this is my medication that I need to feel better in my body. There's no room for guilt.
Your pancreas is making plenty of insulin, but your stomach isn't making the GLP and GIP. There's a new study. So we've known for almost a year now that endometriosis is probably not a gynecological disorder. It's a metabolic one, because women who make endometrial adhesions in their bellies don't have GLP and GIP in their peritoneal fluid. So that came out of Europe about 10 months ago now. Just this week, looking at GLP-1s and cancer, there's a reduction in the risk of ovarian and endometrial cancers.
Amazing.
So when things grow out of control, that can become cancer. We already know that without GLP and GIP from our stomachs, women make adhesions. That's an abnormal growth. Cancer is an abnormal growth. So GLP-1s are actually female reproductive cancer prevention. So it might come out over time that those are metabolic disorders as well.
I love hearing all of that. And that to me is just like the bonus on top. That's like the cherry on top, because I'm over here losing weight, feeling better. And now I get to know all of that is better for me too. So I love it.
And the clinician in me is very happy because your body is healthy.
Yay.
And that's a beautiful segue into you, Andrea. I believe you recently celebrated losing 30 pounds. Did I get that number right? Oh my goodness.
Oh, you did 30 plus.
30 plus. And I have never seen you happier. How are you feeling in this new body of yours?
Amazing. Amazing. I get, a little choked up about it, and there's a loss of words because I just had no idea that I just feel so great. And it's been a journey. And I've had so many moments of the guilt that Kimberly talks about. And I'm like, okay, I have to erase that. It's, I am still in process of that. But so mentally feel so good and physically, wow, 30 pounds on this 5'2" frame, like it's amazing. And my mind is still catching up with my body. So I don't necessarily see all of that. My clothes say something different. And you all, my sister and my doctor can see the difference, and the scale says the difference, but I'm still catching up to really wrapping my brain around all of it.
Mm. Can you just share maybe just a little bit more what you were feeling like in your body before you decided to call Kimberly?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. So that would be just almost a sadness, just, yeah, depressed, almost like I've given up because I've tried so hard. I usually would on a regular workout, and I feel like after or during COVID, that was where my guilt was. I was like, I'm eating dessert almost every day now with being in COVID, and just feeling like I've just put on the pounds. And I know, and then with menopause, and so just helpless. I'll just say helpless, and just embarrassed too. I didn't like to be photographed at all. And just there was one time there was a family photo that someone posted on Facebook, and just looking at that, I cringed. I was so embarrassed on just how big I was, and that I felt like I couldn't do anything about it. Going from that to this, I'm just so grateful, and I'm just so grateful.
You're a whole new woman.
I definitely am a whole new woman, physically, mentally. I just and I did have hesitation before calling, really, but I also feel like what a great example. My sister, I saw the results, and when you started, and that was so encouraging, but I still was very hesitant, and I thought, let me just do my little steps my way, and I'm just so grateful that I did.
And you walk differently now. You carry yourself differently. Your skin looks amazing and your eyes are bright. And before, in a conversation with you, when we first met, you were back and guarded. You were definitely like, hiding. And the last time I saw you, you were having a conversation with me. We were talking. It was amazing. It was so good.
Oh,
I was like, there she is. Yeah.
oh,
There she
thank
is.
you so much. I mean, with the HRT, like just getting energy and just feeling good, like not that chronic just tiredness and sadness, and just not feeling good at all in any way. Going from that to feeling great and wanting to share my results, and just share the journey, because it's so worth it.
And so, Orion, I'm curious with your journey, what was it that sparked your final decision to call Kimberly? Because I feel like you and I hedged around health topics the past couple years. And then it wasn't until I saw you a couple of months ago, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm a client of Kimberly's. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. So I'm just so curious, like, what finally got you there?
Yeah, it really wasn't a challenge for me in the sense of intention. So I've always been very nerdy about my health. There's a couple of things that, yeah, I'm 43, and growing up in the 90s, if you were anything above maybe a size 6 or an 8, a 5'7", 9 was a popular store, and 9 was big, right? And the second that my menstrual cycle came in when I was 11, I turned into a little Stay Puft marshmallow, and it was almost overnight. Like within a summer, I think I gained 30 pounds. And so it was one of those things that I had been on some form or fashion of a diet because culturally or societally, there was an expectation that I should be. Like the amount of diet mayonnaise that I've had is just ridiculous. I don't even like mayonnaise that much. But so for me, when I began working in my 20s, I was very much like really surgical about getting all my lab work done. If my company did free lab work, I was getting all the free lab work, which this ties in to coming to the clinic because I was speaking at BizLifeCon and there was the free labs and I was like, yes, thank you. I will totally take it. I've always been very, very mindful of that. I'm very much, if my triglycerides are off, we are surgically bringing this down. When I say surgically, I mean like there are very focused things. I know exactly how my body reacts and how to move things around. But the weight was always something that I couldn't move around. And I've been diagnosed early on with PCOS and just told if you just lose 5 pounds. So that's great. So tell me how. You just need to have no moral failing and eat right and exercise. Well, I was lifting weights with a personal trainer 4 days a week and I plateaued out every time, right? And so for me, once GLP-1s and then the GIP, which I actually prefer, the blend with tirzepatide, once these became popularized outside of just the diabetic community, I was like, I want to be on that. I knew I wanted to be on that, but then access to it was a whole different thing because you really have to have cash in your pocket to be able to do it and consistently stay on. And yeah, it was just a confluence of things. Being able to have access to it, having a doctor that I knew understood that space, and just like listening to you speak. I'm like, I try to have articulate conversations with my doctors, and then I end up switching doctors because people don't read research and they have no idea and they're very condescending and all of those things. And so knowing that I had somebody that I would feel comfortable going into the office rather than just telehealthing it and raw dogging it like a lot of people are, just you just call in, they don't even see you, they're just like, sure, take this. And to be fair, I actually did start out that way, particularly on the GLP-1 side, but certainly adding in the HRT and feeling like I have a space that I can now address all the things that I want to address in the order I want to address them in the way that I want to address them in. So that's what won me over.
Can we talk a little bit about PCOS?
Sure.
So I think we covered this in an earlier episode. Polycystic ovarian syndrome is where the ovary, instead of maturing one egg to erupt, tries to mature a bunch of different eggs at the same time. And there's every third month, sometimes every month, there's actually no ovulation. And so there's no progesterone that comes out because that's what it comes out of the little cyst where that egg pops out of the ovary. Not to spend too much time from 6th grade biology, but when women with polycystic ovarian syndrome don't achieve ovulation, the whole second half of their cycle and possibly through the entire next cycle, they're in what's called estrogen dominance. And that's where their estrogen goes sky high. Because progesterone keeps it from going too high. When estrogen goes sky high, we see this also in perimenopause, which is why women gain weight in perimenopause. Women with PCOS have had it their whole lives. Women in perimenopause, it's age 40 to 50, they're gaining 1 to 2 pounds a year. It's because that estrogen has no opposition. That is a pre-diabetic weight gaining state. And you can oppose the estrogen, but typically in PCOS, those women also don't make GLP or GIP in their stomachs. So you have two issues. You've got estrogen dominance and you've got GLP, GIP deficiency in your body. So you're amazing with what you've been able to accomplish with those two against you your whole life. Like, how tenacious are you that you've been able to, the work you must have put in to stay on top of that must have just been so time consuming. So I'm glad to make it less hard. How's that?
1,000%, 1,000%. And there's so many layers to it because you talk about the moral failing part, right? Where people assume things about you. People who are overweight make less money. They have less opportunities. I already know as a Black woman, when I go and sit in front of most doctors, they're already like, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? And then you add that on. So I have a cold. If you lost 5 pounds, if you just lost 10 pounds, how is it yeah, I'm working on that. How is it going? This isn't even your area of expertise. So like, how is it going? I don't need your opinion on it, to be frank. So there's a lot that goes into it. And then I have the flip side of what I would consider very slim friends who have been like, oh yeah, everybody's been bulimic once or twice in their life.
Oh gosh.
No,
No.
that's not healthy. And that's also the flip side too. If we talk a little bit of the dark side of it, GLP-1s, where people will use it as a shortcut in the sense that they're already not seeing that they're a completely acceptable human being at the weight that they're at. And this is where people are getting bone loss and all kinds of crazy things because we're leaning into societal pressure and other things. A lot of things that tell you, no, you really are failing at life unless you hit a number. So, I appreciate having the extra support and the extra boost because I have a lot of responsibilities. I'm at an airport right now. I got a lot of extra things going on in life that add stress. Oh, just reduce your stress and you can reduce your cortisol.
I would love to know, Elizabeth, if you could go back to your pre-treatment self, what would you tell her when she was perhaps feeling a little bit lost about this weight that she was carrying?
Oh my gosh, it's so easy. Like start sooner. Do this sooner, get on it sooner. And it's understanding, Kimberly, what you said, right? Like understanding it's a disease. It is something that I couldn't have helped. And there are probably things I could have done differently in how I ate because I've never been a really healthy eater in the past. So I get that there's things I could have done differently to maybe help me. But do it sooner because why wouldn't I help myself in ways that make me better? And so do it sooner is 100% what I would have said. And don't be ashamed, don't be scared, and continue to share it with all my girlfriends and beyond because it's worth it. And even my husband tried it with me in the beginning. It didn't work for him. I mean, look, he lost probably 20 pounds in the first immediately, but he couldn't handle it with his stomach because he had previous issues that made it harder for him. My side effects haven't shown up. I've been very fortunate and knowing that this is something that works for me and how my body metabolizes it. And so it's been good for me. Had I known that sooner, I would have started it sooner. And so I just wish I would have, if I had gone back, I would have said, do this sooner, 100%.
Can I just, one of the things you said was you could have made better choices. And I get this a lot in my clinic. And I just want to tell you that there's nothing you could have done differently other than take the medication to fix the medical problem. There's really nothing. There is not an ounce of guilt for you to carry ever on this. That's like telling a diabetic, just journal your way out of this. Or someone with a broken leg, would you like to meditate? Like you have a real medical condition that is diagnosable and treatable, and you probably have had it your whole life. So all the times you think back, I want you to just get rid of all of that guilt. We didn't have the knowledge we had about all these different peptides and sugar metabolism when you were a kid. We just didn't. And so kids these days, we are treating younger and younger because it's another form of diabetes that just doesn't have a name yet. It's a sugar dysbiosis. It's a metabolic problem. So I want you to hear me. You never, ever, ever had a moral issue. You had a metabolic one. So
Thank you. Thank you. I need to hear that probably a few more times, but I will let that sink in.
put it on a sticky note on your window, on your mirror.
Right.
Never had a moral
Exactly.
problem, always was a metabolic one, and you took care of yourself is the most important thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I see that now. I do believe that. I do believe that because I can feel it. Yeah. Thank you.
So, Orion, I want to
Yeah.
pick up on something you said earlier, which is the access to the GLP-1s. Kimberly, would you be willing to talk a little bit about that? I know, like in the outside world and regulation and all that, it's just a hot mess. But from your understanding, to those of us who just want the medication, can you help us with that?
Maybe.
Okay.
It depends on when you're listening or watching this because it's a very tenuous, ever-shifting landscape. So tirzepatide, which is brand name Zepbound and Mounjaro, is made by a pharmaceutical company called Eli Lilly. So Lilly makes this drug. They own the patent for it. It has two different brand names, but it's the exact same generic. It's the same base. To get those medications prescribed to you, you have to go see a prescriber who can prescribe it for you. And then you have to go to Walgreens to get it, or Target or CVS or wherever commercial pharmacy. If your insurance doesn't cover the brand named product, that is anywhere from $500 to $2,000 a month that you'll be responsible for paying for. If your insurance does cover it, it's whatever your copay is for a brand new expensive drug, which is close to the same. There is a new program called Eli Lilly Direct that prescribers can send in prescriptions to. They give you a break. The first month, I think, is $399. And then after that, it goes up. But it is not quite the $2,000 a month. So that is how to get it on label, on prescription. Now, there are compounding pharmacies in the United States. These are pharmacies that are not commercial. You can't walk into them. So it's not like the CVS or the Walgreens or the Sam's Club. These are only compounding from a prescriber specific to that patient. And they make all kinds of preparations. Someone who has a dairy allergy can't take 90% of commercially prepared medications. And so they have to get them compounded. So they have to make them special. People with celiac disease or can't have gluten, about 50% of commercially available pharmaceuticals have gluten in them. And so that can put that person in the hospital even. So there's lots of reasons to need a compounding pharmacy. And compounding pharmacies have been able to make GLP-1s in doses that are not commercially available so far. Now that has been coming and going because it used to be that the compounding pharmacies would make the same 10 milligrams per ml concentration, and all of those got legally shut down because it's the same that you can get at the commercial pharmacy. So really, there's no reason to compound it. So those went away last March. There are some other lawsuits happening right now, but there are currently some compounded, not commercially available concentrations that you can get. If your prescriber has access to those compounding pharmacies, they are typically at a much more affordable rate.
That's what I've been doing on my journey with you.
So my patients pay between $150 and $500 a month, depending on their dose, for compounded tirzepatide at today's taping information, always subject to change. But that's how commercial versus compounded pharmacies work. Eli Lilly spent a lot of money making this medication and they want to get all of it back. It's in the trillions that they make every year. So I don't think they spent trillions making it. My personal opinion is that if there's a medication that helps you not get type 2 diabetes, obesity, cancer, particularly female reproductive cancers, Alzheimer's disease, endometriosis with a bunch of surgeries to fix it. The list of things that we can use this medication for as a tool is long, and I think people need to have access to it.
Preach. Amen.
And it's funny that you would say that because some of the most vulnerable populations don't have access. Medicare and Medicaid don't currently cover.
Nope.
Unless you have diabetes, which is what was originally, it's pharmaceuticals is interesting.
But this is a diabetes medication because a lack of GLP and GIP in the body is a diabetes-like condition. So I don't know why we can't get there. It's rumored that the big six, right, the big five or the big six insurance companies will start to cover this at a much better rate in 2026, but we'll see because employers want it. You talk about data sets. Women walk into a doctor's office and they have to prove the reason for being there. Men walk into a doctor's office and they're believed. Women have to prove why they're there. And then you look at
Black women,
and women of color, it gets abysmal very quickly. There's no safety data on women, very little. It's almost all in 18 to 25-year-old white males, not just males, but white males. So there's no data on us.
And our BMIs are judged off of a small European town of men that agree with that.
Yes, the body mass index, and I don't use BMI as much as I use waist circumference and muscle mass and physical capacity. But you talked about how when you weighed more, you didn't get as good customer service. And women, and particularly women who are overweight, get paid less. Sure. Employers are pushing the insurance companies to cover the GLP-1s because when employees are overweight or obese, they take more sick days and their productivity is lower because they are sicker. They are in a body that's not working. Just if somebody has a broken leg, their productivity is probably going to go down. And hopefully the employers pushing the major insurers to cover this so that people can live in healthier bodies. It's not the reason that I would choose to have it be available, but if it gets it available, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So-
It's where the money is. It's
Right.
where the money is.
Yeah. So if however we can get it across the finish line, I love it. Because I would
Yeah.
love to be able to just send this to the pharmacy and your insurance covers it. I would love that. But right now I have to get it compounded so most of my patients can afford it.
So, Elizabeth, I know you have 2 children. Can you tell us a little bit more how and if your weight loss has affected that relationship?
Yeah, I've got a 5-year-old boy, and boys are wild, and a 7-year-old girl who is my little mini me and 10 times the attitude as me. I hear that's what we deserve. And yeah, absolutely weight loss. Not only I think I show up for them happier because I'm happier, so I think that's changed a lot. But even just the cliche, like I'm outside more. I want to be outside more with them. I want to get in front of all their friends with them and run around or do whatever we need to do. I also am eating healthier and doing paying a different kind of attention to what and how I do certain things. And they're paying attention. I talk about protein all the time. My daughter makes her lunch every morning, and now she's like, Mom, is this a good protein lunch? Or is this a protein snack I should have? I know, and it's like the best thing I could ever hear because they're also eating candy and whatnot. And I'm not going to stop all of that, but they're thinking about it, right? And not from is this going to make me look good? Is this a healthy way to eat meat or whatever it is? And so I think it has those ripple effects and it's making my parenting a lot easier and happier and it's working on them. So another side bonus.
So happy to hear that. As women, it's so important when we're taking care of our body, just the ripple effect. And yes, of course, that happens with men as well. But for women, I find we typically help the community. It's our children, it's our partners, it's our workmates, it's our friends that energy just tends to ripple out more when we're taking care of ourselves. And so that's such a beautiful gift that you're giving not only to your children, but to your very large network.
Yeah.
So, Orion, I want to take a step back and chat about HRT. I'm so curious, like since you started, I'm safe to assume, are you on a pellet right now?
Yeah, I'm on a testosterone pellet, very low dose at this point.
Beautiful. Have you noticed any changes physically or emotionally that you attribute to the therapy?
It's really funny. I'm actually like, if I look at my cycle, and I've suffered from PMDD for years and take Wellbutrin for that as well as its label use for depression. And for me, I noticed that I have a lot more emotional variance. And I've also had some shifting in my cycle date, but I also have a oddly sensitive cycle. So even with changing my Wellbutrin prescription maybe a year or two ago, we went up a little bit, and it just completely, I was like, wait, what's happening? So there is that. I mean, that's just full transparency. I've seen some shifts. They're not necessarily negative shifts, but I've just noticed them.
Wait, and
then
before you go further, just so I can understand, because I'm
Mhm.
not medical like Kimberly, but when you define PMDD, and then also will you let me know if are you saying you're able to feel emotion and before you couldn't necessarily feel those emotions?
No, so I'll give you, it's been like a 3-stage thing. So
Okay.
early through puberty and whatnot, I had really painful periods, very heavy periods, land in the ER multiple times a year just for back pain and stuff, which of course, if you lost 2 pounds, you wouldn't have that problem. Okay, yeah.
If they'd just given you progesterone, you wouldn't have had that problem because all they had to do was balance your estrogen so that you didn't get such a thick endometrial lining that when it shedded, it felt like you were dying.
No one even looked at my hormones until I was almost 30. And that was because, it's a slight digression, but I had a period at which I just bled for a month straight.
Oh, all right.
And
That is
and then they put me
brutal.
on progesterone, like a progesterone only, and it did something weird. And then I just didn't have a period. And then I was all over the place. I ended up going off of everything and just letting my body heal itself. And I hate to put it that way, but sometimes you just need a little reset. But even with that, it was a lot of shot in the dark stuff. Like, I think it's probably this, so let's just try that. And so I like measurement. I like a little scientific method. If you tell me I don't make enough GLP-1, I'm like, what's their evidence of that? What are the correlates? What are the ways in which? Because I'm fine with it, but let's proof these things out. You're the only person that's ever said that to me, by the way. Nobody's ever talked about you don't produce enough of anything. You're not producing enough working out and enough self-discipline. You should eat less sugar. And I'm like, I get migraines. I can't eat a lot of sugar. If I look at a piece of cake wrong, it's over. My day is done. So it's been an interesting thing. So to explain on that, so I had these heavy periods and I had some wild, all kinds of stuff all the way up until almost 30, so mid-20s. And then with NuvaRing and just like consistency, it was like, okay, I have my period. It's this during this little window. It's 3 days. It used to be like a 5. It's 3 days, like clockwork. Even going off of NuvaRing, my body was like, nope, 3 days clockwork. We know what we're supposed to be doing now. And then things like taking Wellbutrin, it was like, it's going to be 4.5 and it's going to be the week later. And it just starts to move around and things like that. So I've had some of those shifts. But throughout that, I didn't know about PMDD. So everybody knows about PMS in the television kind of version. Mom's crabby again. Watch out. She's going to eat everything and bite your head off, right? PMDD, premenstrual disorder, is basically, I call it hide the butter knives, because I will have a day, it's usually like 16 to 24 hours where everything in life that could be bothersome and wrong feels like the end of the world. Like literally, I would just, and it took me a couple of years to even realize that I was going through a major depressive disordered moment, because you think depression is like all the time. No, this is like literally a window, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm fine. And then just go about my thing. And even within it, even being like self-aware of it, I still have to go, oh, you just catastrophized for the last 5 hours. You probably are about to, what day is it? Yep. I'll go ahead, take you a little extra and keep, go ahead.
Do you know why you've had PMDD?
I'm presuming it's all of the hormones.
It's your estrogen is so high that when you finally do get a period, it falls so low so that you can bleed. You're basically having a 1-day menopause every month.
Oh.
Welcome to the club, girlfriend.
Like you might throw some hot flashes, but those mood
disorders. Been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah. But if they chew one more time that loud, they're going to be in the morgue and not going to be in prison. Like it's everything is like so overstimulating, and you just, the anger, it's like rage. But that's what women who are going through peri and into menopause, it's the estrogen crashing out. And because yours has always been so high, it's the amount of fall that's causing all these symptoms. So that's the why. There's lots of different ways to work on managing it. And it sounds like you're doing a beautiful job, but women aren't explaining the why. And if you understand the why, then you don't feel so unsettled, like you're living in quicksand. You never know when the bottom's going to drop out.
I would say, and I love how articulate you are about the research and about the body systems and all of that stuff. I would venture to guess that many of the doctors I've spoken to don't actually know why, and they don't get trained on why. And I had one OBGYN who was fantastic, and I moved out of state, so I didn't have him anymore. But that was the only other time that I had somebody who could say, I'm here to be your consultant. I'm here to tell you what's going on. And if we don't know, this is how we can investigate, and we're going to agree together how we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Because that's so key. And I think, again, people give you that at a glance, because what is it on average? They give you 7 minutes with a GP. They give you that at a glance and go, just lose 10 pounds and you won't have these problems. Like you're making your own problems and then coming to me and complaining about it. And so having someone who can be compassionate in the space of where you're at, look past what is like the obvious answer, and really investigate, well, how does this body work? Because it's still a body and it still has systems, and it's no different than a car. I don't care if it's a minivan or it's a Toyota Tercel or it's a Miata. You can tell how old I am.
We're going to get you into a Ferrari.
Woo, woo. Yes, you have come to the right person.
Look, honestly, it's about the engine under the hood. It can be a minivan as long as the engine is good. That's where my head is at. And being able to have a partner in that is so key.
So to you, Andrea, similar to Orion, you're doing the HRT and the GLP-1. And I guess similar to me, I am as well, those two. But specifically the HRT, what things have you noticed, whether it's physically or emotionally in your world?
I noticed more of a sense of calm, which has been so helpful with all of the changes that I've already just been going through with work and relocation and all of that. But I felt that immediately when I started the HRT, just calmness and just more of a clarity, not so jumbled mentally.
And
I
Orion's
can't.
nodding her head. Orion, you have a similar feel?
Yeah, I will say, I think I've been doing things also on the supplementing side, but like focus and clarity has been something that I've been really trying to work on because I've noticed I hope it's not a cognitive decline. I hope it's more of an attention or a tiredness or a stress kind of thing. But I've noticed like reaching for words, trying to get out in ideas and thoughts, and just sort of a mental sluggishness that I think has improved not only with the weight loss and with the GLP-1, to be honest, like even before the weight was really coming off, it was like I feel a little bit clearer. And then certainly so with the testosterone, I've felt a little bit more clarity as well.
I agree. And the studies show that it's really important. So women in perimenopause and in the first years after they go through menopause. So menopause is the second in time when she's gone 12 months without a period, and then she's postmenopausal from then on. But we use menopause and postmenopausal interchangeably in the United States in social vernacular. But in early postmenopause years, between age 50 and 60, there's a great neurologist doing studies out in California that show that women can lose up to 27% of computational capacity. So when you lose up to 27% of your ability to do math and higher executive computational functions, you can't stay relevant in your job, you lose this ability. And the longer we wait to initiate hormone replacement therapy, testosterone and estrogen in women who can receive that, the more permanent that might become. So I love hearing, Andrea, that you are feeling crisp and clear and your brain is back, and you've got, because that also tells me that you're more protected against Alzheimer's disease and other neurodegenerative processes. So I love that for you.
Me too.
And so just so we don't over-index on all the positive and start sounding like an infomercial, I actually do want to take just like 5 seconds to talk about some of the downsides you might be feeling. Because I know I personally have experience and have also talked to others new on the GLP-1s that sometimes you can get bad breath, that I've been meaning to ask Kimberly forever about the bad breath part. The fact that you have to get new clothes. Like I'm down 40, wait, I went from 175, now I'm down to 133. So whatever that math is, that's over 40, yeah, over 30 pounds. I have to get new clothes. So that's a downside, spending more money because I don't like spending money. But of course, great problem to have. And then last but not least, I will say, not on the GLP-1, but on the HRT, I will say when in the very beginning, when we were trying to balance things out, the shot was so much that I felt like a pubescent boy. Like I was literally thinking about sex like every 2 hours. I'm like, ooh, ooh. It didn't matter who was walking by. I was like, like I'm like, okay, something's going on. So those are my three. I would love to know, do you have things that you've noticed that were like, don't necessarily love on this journey, or that you've had to overcome to get to where you are right now?
Yes, the having to get new clothes, which I'm happy to do it, but yeah, I don't want to spend that money because things are just not fitting exactly right. And when I really think about it, I can't say anything negative. I haven't experienced the whole bad breath thing. Like I was really trying to go with this, okay, yes, I know there's some negatives. I know it. But yeah, so the spending money thing, just yeah, and just trying to get used to my new body, which it's taking more time than I've realized, but just trying to understand fully physically who am I?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. What about you, Orion?
Yeah, I will never complain about going down a few sizes. I think I topped out at right around 270, and I was like, I'm not looking anymore because I'm just not going to look anymore, which I really can't because I'm way too anal. But for me, and I've kept my favorite things along the way and then let stuff go. Because that idea of, oh, I'm going to get back into that little dress, that can also be like a crazy stressor when you don't have as much control as you would like over where your weight is going. But I would say the libido thing, interesting. It's been interesting. I don't mind it at all. Like, why not? So I haven't really found that. I will say I was really mindful, particularly on the tirzepatide side, around choosing something that I would have less gastro problems with, because I was like, I don't need bubble guts and all the rest of the stress. And I really haven't had that problem, but I also supplemented and made sure that I was taking probiotics and prebiotics to make sure that my biome was going to be able to be strong enough to handle it. But between the two, I mean, even at times where I wasn't taking a probiotic with it, it was very, very tolerable and really didn't have. I had worse stomach problems with eating a bag of sugar-free gummy bears than I did with my shot. So I feel like, oh, by the way, don't eat sugar-free gummy bears. They will destroy your life. They will destroy, and give it 30 minutes and it's over.
And if you ever need a good laugh, I think it's the Hasbro brand. Go on Amazon and read the reviews.
Haribo, yeah. Haribo.
Oh, the reviews.
Haribo, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh, you will cry. You will laugh until you cry.
Oh wow.
They're
Because
not
it's
like real,
true.
they're like the reviews of how it makes you have explosive diarrhea.
Yeah.
But the way people write it, it's so funny.
I guess the alternative would be is if you find that your GLP-1 is backing you up a little bit, it's like the gastric slowing.
Oh,
Just throw a little
no,
gummy bear. No,
no,
okay.
no,
I'm
no.
not a
Colace.
doctor's
Just, okay, we're just gonna say if you have constipation from a
Colace.
GLP-1,
Yeah.
don't add fiber because that's like adding cars to the traffic jam. It's Colace, and if that's not enough, you do Miralax, or you call your doctor and ask them. But yeah, don't do the gummy bears. You'll end up in the ER. Oh my God.
Or even
Noted.
magnesium.
No.
That's
It's not
like
that much
really
fiber. It's like
great.
more of a blowout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the gummy bears are awful.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring us back online.
Okay,
So,
let's out of the poop. Let's get out of the poop. Yeah.
last questions. I'm looking at the time and I definitely want to be respectful. I'm so, so grateful you all are here for our community and other women who have questions. And so the last question I have for you is, what do you wish your friends or family understood about your personal experience?
Wow. I'm hoping that they do understand that it literally is life changing. I don't want to use that lightly. I don't want to use that term lightly. When I say life changing, meaning a whole new everything, a whole new mental excitement about life, excitement about my health, and wanting to be the best me, and just from the results of even understanding, okay, the guilt part is gone and I'm really doing what's best for my body and feeling better, and just knowing that this is it. Without this, I can only think of doom. Only I wish I had more to say about the negative. I don't have any. It's literally all positive. And I feel like my family and friends can tell that if I haven't already shared that with them, because as Kimberly said, yeah, I'm here with it. I am so happy and grateful for this journey, and I want to continue on it.
Yes, I can back you up. Almost across the board, when I talk to a friend who knows you, they're like, your sister's glowing. That Texas has been taking good care of her. And I'm like, yes, it's Texas and it's my sister. She's taking care of herself. So it's been amazing witnessing your journey for sure. And Orion, with you, with your circle, have there been any misperceptions and or anything you've had to overcome as you've started to go on this particular journey?
Is it wrong to say there's been no F's given from me in terms of how people feel about it?
That is like, welcome to your 40s,
yes,
right there.
I love that.
I mean, I've been like this
Yes.
for a while, but it's also here's the thing that I learned early on. There was a point in time that I had a really, really bad breakup and I was super, super depressed. I lost like 50 pounds in 3 months, literally 40, 46, 47 pounds. And people were like, you look great. And I'm like, I am the most unhealthy mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually that I've ever been. And now you're excited to hang out with me. And so I got a really, and this was like, I was like 26 and I was like, nope, I no longer am going to gauge whether I'm fun enough, interesting enough, whatever, all of those things based off of how people perceive my weight. Because if I am crushing, like soul crushingly depressed, like that's not the place that I need to be. And I don't, skinny is not happy for me, right? Healthy is happy for me. And as people, there'll be little things in passing. I also don't, I'm very mindful to think about who I surround myself with in any regard. But there'll be those conversations where I was going to get a pizza, but I know you'll eat 2 bites and then be like, I'm full, hee hee hee. And I'm like, yep, because I'm delicate, damn it. I'm delicate.
I'm going to use
That's
that one.
fine.
Delicate.
I'm delicate, damn it. Like, and that's okay. I think I very much am in a place, and maybe it is the 40s, but I think I've been like this a little while, like I said. But there is something to be said for being in a space of deciding what you need for you so that you can show up for everybody else. I can't show up for you and be what you want me to be and all those things at the same time. It's just too many things. But I'm not a mom currently. I don't have a bunch of people around me in my ears. And with that, I think does come a bit of a freedom to decide exactly how I want to choose that path and that journey.
Amen.
Yeah, I
That's
love
so
that.
beautiful. And so, Kimberly, as we close, are there any themes you've heard from our amazing panelists that you want to speak to?
It's similar to what I see every day in clinic, that I love being able to just support the bodies that you live in. And I love that you get to go out in the world and engage with the world in a way that you want to. And I love hearing that. And I'll never get tired of hearing that. And I never get tired of the little part that I got to play in giving you what you wanted. That fills my bucket all day, every day that I get to help. So thank you for sharing your journey with everybody. And I love when you walk in the door and I get to see you instead of, tired or scared or uncomfortable or in pain or all the just not feeling like you. And I get to have a front row seat to getting you back. And I love that.
Well,
Thank
this
you.
does wrap up our 8-part series. And so I just want to give the biggest round of applause to our Kimberly, who has
Thank you.
walked us through the medical side, the confidence side, getting off of the fence side and everything in between. So if you are just watching or hearing this episode, please go back, listen to 1 through 8, because Kimberly has filled our ears and our hearts and our brains with so much information just to help us make informed decisions for our own bodies. So thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you for having me. This has been really fun.
And thank you, my friends, for sharing your voices. I love that you all have the same heart as I do to help our friends. We are showing up today because we don't want any other women suffering. So thank you for your time and for sharing your stories and your hearts as well.
Thanks for creating this space. Nobody talked about this when I was a kid or when I was a teenager. Nobody prepared us for any of this. So I love that you've created the space for it.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Nourish with Michelle Fox. Were you driving, folding laundry, or maybe walking around the neighborhood? Perfect. I've got you covered with show notes over at michellefox.com/podcast. When you're ready, you will also find resources to support what you've learned in today's conversation, plus a few health supportive freebies waiting just for you. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world if you left a review on whichever podcast platform you're currently listening from. Your support helps me continue my mission of building healthier communities. This 8-part series is my effort to help more women stop suffering in silence and start feeling strong, confident, and seen. I am grateful to be on this journey with you. Big love.